So hey everyone, I'm so excited to introduce you to a friend of mine. Actually, we met online. She messaged me on my blog, brownraggamodder.com, and we just started talking. And I think she's absolutely amazing. She's so brave to be living the kind of life she lives. I want you guys to get inspired by her, and so this is the reason I invited her onto my podcast and onto my YouTube video channel. So Brooke Palmer, and I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about you.
Hi.
Hey.
Okay, I've been living out of the U.S. for like most of the past 15 years. I did a study abroad when I was in university, and I kind of caught the travel bug. So as soon as I graduated, I left. And that's just kind of what it turned into, was like, I'd rather, there's so many places to go in the world and so many things to see and experiences to have. Like, it doesn't make sense for me to stay in one place.
Yeah.
And I would rather, I don't know, I just found it more interesting to live outside of like where I grew up than to stay there. So
that makes sense. That makes absolute sense.
So I lived in, I think it's like 9 countries now.
Oh wow!
Since I started,
right?
So that like at least 3 months or more.
Wow! And the last time I spoke to you, the first time we spoke, you were in Cambodia, and you were living in a really, really small town, and you were playing music at that time?
I think, actually, because the way we connected was I read a blog post by you that was about real life.
Yeah.
And then I made a comment, and there was some dialogue back and forth, and then that inspired like a song that I actually wrote. And it was right before I was leaving China to move to Cambodia and have like a really huge lifestyle change.
Yeah.
Like I was going from, I'd been like settled in China for 5 years, and I was going from like a 9-to-5 job with a salary and insurance and all this stuff to just playing music.
Mm-hmm.
And around the same time, I started a YouTube channel, and I started working on Fiverr, doing like music projects.
I see.
So that's mostly what I did for like the last 2 years.
Right.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And Cambodia is a really cheap place, but you're in Greece right now, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay. So, and I think you're traveling right now. You're going to Ireland, and you're going to be moving around a little bit. So why did you decide to leave Cambodia? What happened there?
I was playing 6 or 7 times a week, which is pretty like physically demanding. So I just kind of wanted a break from like music business. And I'm working at another job online now, like kind of part-time teaching to make this travel stuff happen.
Okay.
I had 2 friends that got married in Europe this summer, and they were about a month apart. So I couldn't really say no to one or the other. So I thought, well, if I'm gonna do it, let's like don't go halfway.
Yeah, let's do it.
The old saying. And I knew, and one was Italy, one was Greece, and Greece has a lower cost of living. So I just decided, and I've never been here, so I decided let's do that for a little bit.
Amazing. I've heard such good things about Greece. So I'm sure you're having
Yes.
loads of fun. It's so beautiful, and the food there, oh my God, it's delicious.
People are they are so pleasant without being fake. It's not like I'm going to kiss your ass because you're a tourist friendly. Like, they're very pleasant, and they don't like mind. They have to speak English with you. And this is like everybody that I come across. They're so friendly. The food, the weather, everything. Like, it's an amazing place.
So if someone was kind of listening to you right now, and I read a lot about this, is that a lot of people are just talkers, like they talk about, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to go travel and I'm going to do this. But very few people actually get down to it. When it actually comes down to it, most people will not do it. They'll obviously, and I totally get it as well, they'll obviously stick to the security of their jobs because it's so much easier, right? It's so hard to just get up and go and leave and do something because you don't know, you have no safety net, you have no insurance, like nothing, right?
Yeah.
I guess because you were a little bit younger, like maybe you didn't have that feeling that, oh my God, what am I doing with my life? Or did you actually have that feeling?
I did for a really long time, probably until I was like, I still don't know what I'm doing all the time, except that I know how I want to do it.
Yeah.
But for a long, probably until I was like 30 or 31. I didn't move to Cambodia until I was 33. And that's when I sort of felt like I was starting to do like the right thing.
Right.
But I was definitely in my 20s just like, what am I doing? Like all the time, had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
But I still, like, I remember those days, just like panic, like, this is terrible, I'm terrible at life. But then I remember some of those experiences as like the best years of my life too. So,
And is
it's
there,
like,
sorry, go on.
it's like just paying attention to the process and not worrying about the results so much.
So, I mean, I'm so glad you said that, because that's
a lot of
so
it.
true. So true. Because the funny thing is that the way you imagine it in your head is never how it's actually going to turn out anyways.
Yeah.
Ever. Yeah. So you're sitting there, you think, okay, this is how I plan it out. This is how it's going to look in this is where I'm going to be in a year. And you look back in your life, I'm like, what was I thinking? There's no way that would have actually happened. So it's basically just going with the flow and, saying, okay, I want to do this, asking the universe for as much help as possible, and then not resisting it when the help actually arrives, just letting it happen as it happens.
Yeah, arriving. I mean, showing up.
Yeah, exactly.
I always think I don't do nearly as much work as I could on like my YouTube channel and my own music and this kind of stuff. And whenever I sit down, I say, okay, I'm going to get this done tonight. Whenever I sit down to do it, I mean, halfway through whatever project I'm doing, like, I'm like, oh my God, this happens every time. Like, I forget that I'm spending so much energy on it. It's like I'm more awake than when I started. And like, I'm like, I have to remember this feeling because this feels really good right now. Like, it's work, but I'm getting it done. And it's always like, ugh, I need to do this. Yeah. And then when I sit down to do it, I'm like, okay, this is more fun than
I thought it
quit resisting so much.
That is so true. And that's the whole thing about procrastination. Like, I find that so many people, and not even just like with tasks, they procrastinate with life, like living life in general, just making sure that you don't wake up every day with regrets, and so many people do. And it's so easy to look at other people and be like, oh no, you can do that because, you're different, or you've done it before, or you don't have children, or you don't have this or that. Like, there's so many freaking excuses you can make, right? I mean, people tell me that who are in their 30s, early 30s, and they're like, oh my God, I'm too old to do this. And then when they were in their 20s, they were like, well, I'm too young. I don't have any savings. I can't do this now. Yeah. And so there's like every age group has their own excuse. Oh, I have a mortgage. Oh, my kids are still at home. And it's just like, if you're going to do it, it doesn't matter. And there are no excuses. There are people out there who have mortgages at home, who are traveling. They have kids they're traveling with. They have babies that they're strapped on themselves and they're like roaming around the world. So I just don't believe in excuses anymore. Right? If you really want to do it, if you really
want to do it, you'll do it.
Happen. Yeah.
And it'll happen. Yeah, it'll happen.
Definitely.
Perfect example of this was last night, because I've been, since I've been here, I've been really lucky because I've had people coming in and out visiting, like especially with the wedding that went on. It was like tons of people I knew or in and out of the city and traveling around Greece. But I had like my last visitor leave about a week ago. So like, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to put my head down and do a bunch of work until I leave. Like, I'm leaving in 2 days.
Yeah.
So, and I kept saying in the past couple of weeks, I'm like, I have to go busk, like play on the streets. Yeah. So many people busk around Athens, and I've seen them. And I think, okay, this is easy. Like, the police aren't going to shut me down or anything.
Right, yeah.
And I said, and I told my friends, like, hold me to this. I'm going to busk before I leave Athens. I have to do this. So I went last night. I thought, okay, Sunday's perfect. I thought, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going to wander around. But, it's like taking the first step. Like, there's a yogi that I follow on YouTube and do a lot of her classes and stuff. And she's always like, you made it to the mat. That's the first thing. I'm like, okay, I'm going to leave the house with my ukulele. I'm leaving the house. Okay.
Yeah.
And like just wandered around, and it was like, I literally just took the right amount of turns. I was in like some touristy area with, tons of ancient ruins. Some important place. And these two guys were playing, and they were playing like one of my favorite old blues tunes that's called I Ain't Got Nobody.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, that is literally me right now. Like, I hadn't really talked to anybody except for like Chinese kids online and for like 5 days. So I'm like, these are my guys. I was like, these are my people. And I just went and sat down and I was like singing along a little bit. And you know, it's like 2.5 hours later, I've got 2 new like musician friends.
Amazing.
And there was this like dance party going on the street. It was all very like this organic experience that happened. And just met some, you know, great people, and like we're gonna try to play again before I leave in the next couple nights.
Yeah.
So it was that kind of thing. Like I needed it. I didn't realize how badly I needed it. Like for my just like my general mood. Like the past week, and it was like all I did was leave the house.
Yeah,
and it was so cool because one of the guys that I played with, Dimitri, he said like we were talking about it afterwards, and he's like, yeah, if you just leave the house, anything could happen. Like you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
and like exactly, just, like get out. It's such an amazing city. You really never know what might happen, and it was 100 times better than I thought it would be. It wasn't just like okay, I did the task that I was supposed to do. Like. Yeah. It was this amazing experience.
That's so good. That's so good.
It's very humbling.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with travel as well. You just have to leave your country. You just have to, not even maybe if not leaving your country, leave your city for a little bit and go explore. You know, just go outside your comfort zone a little bit, just tiny little bit. Yeah.
And you find out when you leave that like pretty much everywhere in the world, everyone's just other humans doing human stuff. Yeah. When you physically hit the ground, everyone's just doing what everyone else is doing around the whole world.
Yeah, that's so true. That's such a good point because we're so
always
afraid.
Like scary. Yeah, it's always scary. Like I don't know what I'm going to do when I get there. No, it's just like people trying to do people stuff. So you're good.
Yeah, they're all in the same boat. They're just trying to find love, and they're all they all want to be with other human beings, and they all just want food and shelter and the basics of humanity. That's all. That's all everyone wants, I think. So yeah. So from a day-to-day perspective, like, what do you spend your time doing? Or is it every day so different that you can't even say that you have a typical day?
Lately it's been like working solid days, like to make money online, like for funding all these travels that I'm doing this year. And then the other half of the time has been like traveling around Greece a little bit. So I mean, every day is so different, but I have a lot of flexibility in my schedule with like my regular job at the moment. And depending on where I am, I have a lot of flexibility with the cost of living. Like it's all about choices. Like you can have the kind of life that you want to have, like experiences you want to have on like the money that you can make, as long as you're like cognizant of it.
Right.
But I do a lot. I mean, I do some teaching during the day, and in the evening, try to work on like music projects for my channel. Or I've had some projects on Fiverr recently, and I just got picked up by a group in Hong Kong that's going to add my channel to their like network on YouTube.
Congrats!
So thank you. Really excited about this.
Yeah, it's awesome.
They're going to pay me like a salary to make a certain amount of videos a month.
Okay, cool.
And it's like 1,000 times what I'm making on my own.
Amazing.
So it's a really like good symbiotic thing we have going on, because I'm more motivated to do more work to make it grow, because then we both make more money together.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And how did that?
So I'm like, I have that under my belt now. Like I have to actually do that work a certain amount of month.
That's great. That's great. And so they found you online and they asked you to do this for them?
Yeah, on Fiverr actually. He contacted me about doing a small project, and then I said, well, you can see some of what I do on my channel. And he kind of said, oh, well, speaking of having a channel, do you want to talk about doing this too? Because they already have some other musicians, like teaching musicians. So
you said you teach during the day. Do you teach English or you teach music?
English, yeah.
Oh, okay. In Cambodia?
Like, did I start it in Cambodia?
Or do you do it online, the teaching?
Yeah.
Oh, so you teach English online.
Yeah, I got this new job recently, like in April or May, so I could fund traveling more this year.
I see.
Because in Cambodia, I was making enough to live, like to survive on that cost of living, which is very little, but nothing to really be able to get out of the country. So that was part of like the springboard to leave too.
Amazing. That's great. So That's so interesting because I find that everyone always has this question about, oh, how am I going to make money when I travel, or how am I going to make enough money to do all these things? And first of all, like you said, the cost of living in certain places is so little that you can actually survive on very little. So you don't need that much. You don't need to make thousands of dollars a month. But more than that, there's people are making money online in so many different ways now.
Yeah.
I mean, I love this world that we're living in right now because the possibilities are literally endless. I mean, if you have any kind of skill at all, any kind of skill, you can kind of monetize it in some way. You just have to be creative about it and believe that you can actually do it. So this is awesome. This is amazing.
And it does take time. I think that's what people are like. Part of like the problem with that is that they see so much, these people that get like viral videos, or they're on shows where they, these reality shows where they win something and whatever talent they have, but it doesn't happen overnight. Like it looks like that in front of you, but that's not what's happening. Like those people put in a lot of work. I mean, people are putting in a lot of work, period, for these things to happen. So you have to want to do it.
It's like they overnight successes are usually like a period of 14 to 15 years, or like 12 to 15 years kind of work. And all of a sudden these people are everywhere. You see them everywhere and you're like, oh my God, like they just kind of sprung up out of nowhere. But they actually did work for like 10, 15 years straight, like crazy busy, without any kind of recognition. And then they actually came up onto the scene, and then that's how you know them. And a lot of people in my field as well, the personal development field, because that's what the field, I mean, that's the area I'm in. They're all filled with people who worked their asses off for years or decades without any recognition. And all of a sudden, everyone knows them, and everyone's like, oh, how did you get to be such an overnight success? And they're like, well, if you call overnight success 15 years of work, then that's overnight success, but it's not really. I mean, we're so impatient now. We just want to get everything right now without actually doing any work for it. And it's so sad because no one's actually going to do anything then.
If what you're doing is worth doing for you, then you want it to continue. I mean, you want learning to continue. Like, who wants to arrive and have made it? Like, nobody really, because then what? Like, your life might as well be over.
That's so true. What does that look like for? What are you kind of like striving or working towards? I mean, obviously the travel is going to be a big part of your life because that's who you are. You're a nomad. But is there anything else that you are kind of like that you want in your life that you're like, oh, I would love to have this, and that's what I'm working on? Or
I mean, as far as music, my major goals are like always working with and learning from other musicians. I don't have any like really concrete like recording or writing goals. Like I would rather have like the live experience of it is more valuable to me than like making a product. And like giving like that gift to other people. Like on my channel, I teach. Whenever, like, I want other people to be able to experience like what music can do for you and what dance can do for you and that kind of thing. So it's more of like creating experiences for myself and for other people. Like that's
a long term, like a big picture.
Big picture kind of goal.
That's amazing. That sounds really, really good. And I don't think that's hard to make it happen. I mean, it's obviously going to be small at first, but I find that a lot of these things kind of grow organically. They just take their own shape and form, these creative projects, and all of a sudden you're doing something, you're like, this is not how I thought it would be in the beginning, but this is how it has become, and that's where I am right now. The same thing for me. I mean, I think a lot of my listeners know this, but I quit my job 4 months ago actually now, March 22nd, to start my own business. And everyone was like, why don't you just start it on the side and then work your 9 to 5 because you're getting a great salary and you have all. And I knew in my heart of hearts that I was like, if I do it this way, I'm always going to be doing it on the side, and I'm never going to be full on in it, all in, you know, my heart is in it. Like there's no pumping of because I'm like, oh, well, I'm comfortable. I have money coming, and why would I care? And
you got to light that fire under
so
your ass.
True. Yeah. You have to light that fire. You have to. And so there, yeah, the fire is definitely lit right now, and I'm doing and trying so many random things that I would never have tried because I'm like,
Mhm.
well, I want to do an experiment as much as possible because there is no money coming in right now, and that really motivates me. And most
Yeah.
people are like, no, have a safety net before you leave. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? If you can, do it. But it's
Yeah.
so much. You're gonna get so much. I got so much more done in the last 4 months than I've done in maybe the last decade, in
Yeah.
general in my life. You know?
And like you like sense the time so much more too. I mean,
Yeah.
your like day is going to be fuller, um, and you're doing it like one day at a time.
Yeah.
I mean,
So true.
instead of like when's Friday, when's summer vacation, like it's like your
Yeah.
actual life. And people say when I tell people I was in Cambodia for 2 years and just playing music, I didn't. It was such a day to day thing for me, and like the money that I was making, and like a lot of my pay was in food and stuff like that.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But it didn't feel. It never felt like. I mean, I was poor in a sense, but it never felt like it was a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, I mean, when I looked behind me, when I tell people that, I kind of go, oh, yeah, that was 2 years, wasn't it? Like, 2 years? Wait, I did that for 2 years? It's crazy.
That's so funny.
It
I
doesn't seem
like
like
it.
that long. Like, it flew by. It flew by, and so much happened. But it never felt like, there was never that moment where I'm like, when's vacation? When's Friday?
I know, and I just it's
That's so
always like
sad to me. It's
it's
such a
so
sad.
sad. It is such a sad thing. You're always like trying to escape from what you're doing right now because you're like, okay, when am I going to be able to run away from the spot where I am in right now? It just makes me, it's just so icky. I just can't.
Yeah.
It's like such a horrible way to live. And I always tell people, I'm like, don't like try to create a life where you don't actually need to escape anymore. So when you're living in each moment, you're loving everything, whatever you're doing,
Yeah.
no matter what it is, you're still loving it, you know. And obviously, I mean, not every aspect of what you do is going to be absolutely smashingly fun. I mean, there are some like housekeeping things that you have to do or things that you don't really like doing, but
Yeah, and that's when you start getting rid of your stuff because you're
right.
like, this is occupying so much of my time, like
Yeah.
arranging all my things.
Yeah. So I guess you are, because you have been traveling so much, you only have a few, one or two suitcases, or how do you kind of do that?
I have one bag. Part of it is I've spent most of the time, like since I left China, that's when I really got just like shed a lot of my stuff. And they were, thank you, China, for driving me to not want to buy things anymore. I spend most of my time in like places with a warm climate, so that
Right.
makes things a lot easier. I mean, I don't have to have like winter clothes and kind of that stuff.
Right.
I have basic stuff. There's a few things at my parents' house because if I go, usually when I go back to the U.S., I'm going around Christmas time, so like I arrive in flip flops and I have to like bring me a Coke, please, to the airport.
Where is home for you? Where are you from originally?
North Carolina.
Oh, it does get that cold there?
In the winter, yeah. I mean, it's pretty like 4 seasons
Right. Oh, okay.
kind of climate, yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure you miss your family and they miss you a lot. So do you try to go back once a year or how do you do that?
It's been about like every 2 years on average. This will be the first time in a while that I've gone home 2 years in a row.
Right.
So when I left China, I'd been home the year before, and then I didn't go back for 2 more years, I think, at Christmas while I was in Cambodia. But I'll be able to afford it this year. So
amazing.
I'm going, yeah, the older I get, the more like I want to.
Right.
I'm really, really lucky because I have a very understanding family. So I mean, I have a lot of friends that are travelers or nomadic types, and I know they get guilt trips all the time, like literal ones, not just like subtle ones about like coming back on this. And I mean, I think it took some time, but it's like gradually they've come to realize that this is
not
kind of the way it's
temporary.
going to be. Yeah. I think when I dumped everything and moved to Cambodia, that was like that was like the stamp, like this is happening.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
But they're really, really supportive. And I mean, we were kind of raised to, like, we didn't get, my sister and I, we weren't raised like, grow up to be a doctor, grow up to be a lawyer, whatever, get married and have kids. Our dad used to always say, grow up to be brave, strong, and adventuresome.
Oh,
So,
it's amazing. I love that.
a new tattoo they don't really know about yet.
Oh, awesome. I love it. I love it.
So yeah, we got a healthy dose of all three. That's what you told me to do, so here I am in the world.
Yes, and you can't blame me for it because that's exactly what they wanted from you. So,
Yeah.
to kind of conclude, do you have any kind of advice for people who are maybe thinking about doing this, or maybe are afraid, or, I mean, I'm sure you tell people and you tell them, like, this is what I do. They're like, oh my God, you do it. What do you recommend? Like, do you have anything that you want to tell people that, you know?
Say yes to like any kind of opportunity you get. Even the one like projects that I get requests for that seem kind of like, I always end up, because it's the work that I do, I end up enjoying it. And it's that thing about like it's one step at a time. Like take care of the process, and the results will take care of themselves. There's another travel blogger who said that. I can't remember who it was at the moment.
Right.
But I mean, it's just about like arriving, like showing up for your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of anything like especially.
That's amazing. I really like the whole saying yes to everything, because our general tendency is to say no first, or be like, let me think about it, or let me analyze it in my brain, and just like analyze. That's what I do. I'm an analysis person. I analyze things to death. I mean, seriously, I'll spend hours thinking about something specific. And nowadays, first of all, I don't have hours to analyze because I just don't have time for it, because I'm so focused on what I'm doing. But also, it's such a mentally draining process, right? Because what I tell people is that everything that you do is a choice. Like, life is a series of choices, right? You make a choice, you move forward, you take another step. It's like a web that you're going through. So like free will or destiny or whatever is not even a question. Everything is a choice. But what people do is that they don't make choices. They are indecisive, or they sit on their bums, and they're like, okay, I'm going to think about it. And that's actually also a choice, but it's a negative choice, because you're not doing anything.
You're not doing anything. Yeah.
As soon as you do something, the universe will send you signals. Be like, okay, you're on the right path. Or maybe you should kind of like, tweak a little bit and go in this direction. Or you're on the right path, and you just keep on going in that way. Exactly. But if you don't move, you're just not going to get any signals. The universe can't tell you anything, because you're like just sitting there, not doing anything. So you have to do something. You have to just take that first step. Like, wherever you might be. And don't worry about it being a wrong choice, because there seriously are no wrong choices. In my opinion, there are no wrong choices, because everything is just leading you in the direction of something, and you're going to keep on
learning
forward.
Something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Anything else you want to say last?
I don't know. When in doubt, have a dance party. That's always...
I love that. No, that's a good idea.
The one thing, I think dance is the purest art form, as much as I love music. And that's the one thing I always, like, that's where every conversation about like music and art and stuff I have is like that's where I end. I'm like, anybody can do it. And are you going to tell someone that's a bad dancer to stop? Probably not. You probably ask a bad singer to stop, or bad, like, you know what I mean? Like, no one's going to stop you if you're just dancing.
You're just moving, yeah. No, that's great.
When in doubt, have a dance party. And, push your head.
You can even just bob your head, or just like move in certain ways.
Yep.
For sure. Awesome. Thank you so much, Brooke. This is great. I just the reason I really wanted to bring you on here is, like I said, I feel like there's so many different ways people are living their lives, and I want to kind of showcase all of it, because it kind of made me realize, at least, that there's not one way to live this life, and you don't need to be afraid that you have to kind of follow a certain step. If you want to quit your job, you have to do certain things. You don't have to. There's no checklist you have to follow, because everyone is doing it differently. And so if everyone is doing it differently, then you make your own path, even when you're quitting your job and going traveling.
And if you are, this was somebody else's idea too. I can't remember what blogger it was or whoever, but like the power of authenticity in other people. Like, if you are an authentic person you're like really who you are, it gives like it breaks down other people's fear of like who their authentic person is that they want to be. Like it's really interesting. So it should be this domino effect, really.
Right.
If like everyone just starts living like the way that they actually want to live, it really empowers other people to like release that fear. I mean, you know, like lifestyle wise, personality wise, whatever. Like if you're this like genuine person, it gives people around you like the power to be the same way,
Right.
like who they really want to be.
Right. That's so true. Because then they don't have to be afraid anymore as well. Yeah, because you're actually being who you are. That's awesome. That's actually really good. That's a really good point. That's really good advice. Thank you so much, Brooke. I hope that you have an amazing time in Greece and Ireland and wherever you go next from there.
Thanks.
And I'm sure we'll talk again soon on this podcast, on the YouTube channel. I want to keep on like following you around the world wherever you are, and then eventually maybe you will be a reality TV show star or whatever it might be. Who knows? Like where you want to go. But thank you again for coming on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
People can get a hold of you, or like there you have a website that you want to share, or a social media channel, YouTube channel.
My Facebook artist page is Brooke Palmer Music.
Perfect. Okay.
And my YouTube channel is called Traveling Uke.
Oh yes, traveling with.
He's my partner.
I love it. Does he or she have a name?
This is Claudette.
Claudette. Ooh, okay, perfect. Pretty.
The first one was Claude. So.
All right, perfect. So yeah, you can get a hold of Brooke if you want to go check out her Facebook page, Brooke Palmer Music, or YouTube channel, Traveling Uke, UKE.
Yes.
Awesome. Bye. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you so much. Bye.